Parsha of this week starts with the words Vayakil Moshe Kol Adas Bnei Israel, and Moshe Rabbeinu called and gathered the entire Jewish community. Vayomer Aleim, and he tells them, Eila Advarim Asher Tziva Hashem La'asos Osam. These are the matters, these are the words that God commanded us to do them. And then he goes on to tell them the mitzvah of Shabbat, the mitzvah of Sheishes Yom Te'aseh Malach Avim Hashvi Yelechem Kodesh. 6 days work shall be done, and on the seventh day should be a holy day. Shabbos Shabbos El Hashem, a day dedicated of rest for godliness. And then he tells them all about the construction of the Mishkan. When exactly did this happen? So Rashi tells us this was the day after Yom Kippur. Lemachas Yom Kippurim k'sheyarad min hahar, on the day after Yom Kippur, when he came down from the mountain. What's happening? So we remember, Moshe Rabbeinu went up the first time to receive the tablets, came down and he saw the sin of the golden calf. He broke the tablets. He went back, pleaded for forgiveness, and then went back a third time on Rosh Chodesh Elul, and came back on the day of Yom Kippur, stating, Vayomer Hashem solachti kidvarecha, God said, I have forgiven and given you the new set of tablets. And Moshe Rabbeinu came down with a second set of tablets, which God commanded him to write. Ksav lecha, you write these second tablets and bring it to the Jewish people. So this was, says Rashi, the day after Yom Kippur, a day after he came back and told them, this is what God commands. And one asks the question, why did Moshe Rabbeinu wait an extra day? Why didn't he immediately, coming down from heaven? The people are anxiously awaiting to hear the word of God, just like they were anxiously awaiting the first time. And that's why they made the mistake. And because of their anxiety of Moshe Rabbeinu coming late, they were mistaken in thinking he's not coming down anymore. And that's how the golden calf happened. But they were anxiously awaiting for Moshe Rabbeinu to return with the Torah and start teaching them the Torah. Because they only received the 10 Commandments. They knew there was a whole Torah coming along with it. So if this was true the first time, how much more so the second time? They were even more anxious. So why did Moshe Rabbeinu wait an extra day? So the Rebbe gives the following explanation. The day that Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the commandments, with the tablets, was for them a sign that God forgave them. They had committed the sin of golden calf. Not only did God forgive them, but he actually gave him a new lease on life, so to say. Gave him a new set of tablets, the same tablets, but with a deeper insight, with a greater development. This is now a tablet that gives them now the opportunity of doing teshuvah, which prior to this they didn't have. So these tablets basically showed them the extent of his love to the people, the extent of God's forgiveness, that although they had committed such a fundamental sin as worshipping a golden calf, God forgave them, and God says, we are still one. So when Moshe Rabbeinu came down with those tablets and they saw clearly the forgiveness of God, they celebrated that day. At no moment were they ready then to start delving into the details of the study of Torah. At that moment, they just celebrated the fact that they received the Torah. They celebrated this union between them and God and them. That was not a moment to sit down and tell them the godly detailed commandments. At that moment was simply celebrating God and us, and we and God are one. The following day is when Moshe Rabbeinu was telling them, Kinderlach, celebration is great, but there is a tachlis. And what's the tachlis? We have to study the words of Torah. We have to learn them. We have to pay attention to what the Torah says. That's for your own benefit. Just like Shabbat. Shabbat is the day where we grow in our own achievement, where we reflect on what we accomplished the whole week, and we bring it into focus, and we learn, we daven, we study, we better ourselves. And then he says right away, but you also have to build a Mishkan. The Mishkan means making an abode for God in this world. So there's first of all, the celebration of our unity with God. Then there is the personal study of Torah, which is extremely important. And then there is the appreciation of thinking of the other by making this world a godly world.